Hey, everybody, would you believe me if I told you I think we're on the verge of one of the best handicapping weekends and most edges to be found in football this weekend? That's the final weekend of NFL preseason action. I've thought this for years. Results have proved it out over the years. And I'll tell you why in just a second. There's a specific game where I do think there's an edge for some of these reasons, and that's the Bucs and the Jags Friday night at EverBank Stadium. We're going to talk about that matchup in just a second. Hi there, I'm Bruce Marshall, and before we get to talking about Bucs and Jags, a couple of quick housekeeping reminders. Like always, don't forget to click that subscribe button on your screen right there. Make sure you get all of our WagerTalk TV videos. And don't forget, we mentioned preseason football, the final weekend, and also week 0 college football coming up. So I've got picks up there on my site at WagerTalk right now. 5% top choices in both preseason football this weekend in the NFL. Hey, we closed last weekend on a 3-0 run in NFL preseason, so we're back up to speed in preseason. Plus, Saturday, week 0, we have a 5% college football top choice for you. Ready right now up at my site at WagerTalk.com. Okay, let's take a look at this matchup on Friday night as NFL preseason winds down this weekend. Third full weekend of action. And this specific game, we're talking about an all-Florida battle taking place at EverBank Stadium in Jacksonville, where they're already starting to do some work. Next year, by the way, the Jags will be playing their regular season games in Orlando at Camping World Stadium, the old Citrus Bowl. But this year, they're still at EverBank, although they are starting to do some work renovating the stadium there for what that's worth. Anyway, as you can see from the crawl at the bottom of the screen, Tampa Bay, slight favorite here, and it's moved a little bit from early in the week, about 1.5 earlier in the week. We're seeing more threes out there right now for the Bucs. Total a little bit lower here, about 34.5. We're seeing shaded slightly to the over there, and on the money line, it's a pretty stiff price there. You might have, if you're looking at Tampa Bay, you'd be laying about 156 or so and getting plus 130, taking back the other way on Jacksonville, if you're so inclined to go on the money line. But let me tell you why I think there's an edge in the last preseason week, and what's specific about this game that we like about one of these sites. First of all, preseason football in general, I call it the August League. It's got its own rules. It's got its own history. It's not related that much to the regular season, if at all, but it still is its own entity. And there are things that we see repeat all the time in preseason football every summer. Why I've thought for years it's one of the better handicapping opportunities that you get in all sports during the year. Because one, if you have an idea about the rotation some of the teams can use, a working knowledge of the roster, especially the quarterback rotations. And also you look at history here and how the coaches treat these preseason games, trust some reports you see, you hear from some of your scouts in the field. Yeah, preseason football, it's different than regular season football, but there can be some advantages. Where you really get an edge usually is in the last preseason week. And by the way, conversely, I think there's one of the best NFL regular season weeks to handicap is the last week, because if you have an idea what some of these teams are doing with some of the players who might not have been featured much during the season, it might give you an advantage. Quarterback rotations mean an awful lot in NFL preseason action. And if you have an edge there, man, it is just a huge advantage when you're looking at these games, because some of the quarterbacks who play in the preseason, listen, this is the only time they're going to get work, and the drop off between competent quarterbacks and quarterbacks who just can't cut it, it's pretty stark. And if you've got a deep reserve quarterback who can actually move the team, man, that is a plus for you. So a lot of third string quarterbacks go in the final preseason weekend here. And as far as the Bucs go for this game against the Jags, I think Tampa Bay has a little bit of an advantage here. From what we understand, first of all, you won't see a Baker Mayfield on the field. Probably won't see Trevor Lawrence the other way for Jacksonville. But Tampa Bay, the depth chart at quarterback, Jake Browning will probably be the backup this year behind Mayfield. We'll see if he features a little bit maybe in this game on Friday night. But oftentimes it's the third quarterbacks who get the work. There's still perhaps a little bit of a battle in the Bucs camp for who is going to make the practice squad between Connor Bazelak, who had bounced around college football a lot, And lastly at Bowling Green, and he was out. He played last preseason. And Jalen Daniels, the rookie from Kansas, who has mightily impressed thus far for Todd Bowles this August. And he impressed the opening game against the Jets. He was on the field, and he led the Bucs back to victory against the Chiefs last week after Kansas City was all excited about that 69-yard Harrison Butker field goal, but Tampa Bay ended up winning thanks to Daniels. His ability to improvise, make plays on the move, that's a huge plus in the preseason, almost more than the regular season, because you see offensive plays break down, quarterbacks without a lot of experience eat the ball, they'll just dump the ball off short. A quarterback who can get out and move and can make something out of broken plays like Daniels has been doing is really a plus in preseason. Worth noting, these two teams did scrimmage earlier in the week in Jacksonville, and the Jags first stringers might have got, at least the first session on Tuesday, they might have got a little bit the best of it. Daniels was the second quarterback taking snaps for the Bucs. Does that mean he's quarterback number 2 over Jake Browning right now? I don't necessarily think so. I think they kind of know what Browning can do. They would like to see more work from Daniels, get him some more work. And a lot of people we talked to expect him to be taking the majority of the snaps for the Bucs on Friday, and that should be a plus for Tampa Bay. Another thing to note about Todd Bowles, we talked about coaches doing fairly well in preseason. His record is pretty darn good. He's 8-2 straight up. His last 10 preseason games the past few years, they didn't cover the spread last week against Kansas City, but they did win. So that winning vibe goes on with Tampa Bay, and they have an advantage, I think, if they go deep at the quarterback spot, if they go to Jalen Daniels. The other way with Jacksonville, did not look good last week against Carolina. You probably won't see the starters much in this matchup. Liam Cohn, he's looking at now his quarterback situation. Trevor Lawrence, we won't see him. Probably not Nick Mullins. Looks like he's the backup right now. So it's Carter Bradley or Joey Aguilar, the rookie from Tennessee. Last week it was kind of rough with the deep backups in there, and the Jags got smoked by Carolina. As far as Liam Cohn goes, into his second year, he's only won 1 of 5 previous preseason games as the Jags head coach. He doesn't seem to be emphasizing it all as much as Bowles does the other way. With the quarterback advantage, I think Tampa Bay has with Daniels in this game and some recent history points spread straight up wise with both these coaches in preseason, I think it's advantage Tampa Bay. And if it's going to be Daniels in there, we're going to play the Bucs. My recommendation, Tampa Bay, minus that short price on Friday night against the Jags. We'll see what happens. Okay, don't forget, as always, if you got some comments for me, hit the comment box on the screen. Always love to hear from you. And don't forget, we got a couple of 5% plays going this weekend. Special 5% plays in both NFL preseason and college football week 0 up at my site at WagerTalk right now. So we'll be talking more football with you later this week. And until then, and until next time, it's a goodbye from me.